Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I stated on numerous occasions that when the order will be given, the books will be written. The accredited, allowed books, the official version of what happens in Ukraine, with all the mercenaries, all the NATO troops involved, all the F-16 and tanks, crews that were NATO. All these things will be allowed when the order is given. It was not given yet. Why? Because the books were not published. Now, little by little, they give us pieces and bits of information regarding, for instance, in this case, more Americans dying in Ukraine. And why is that? Including an Australian mercenary captured by the Russians. I will read a little bit from these two articles that I have ready for you here, and then I will how should I say it? I will expose here my assessment of or about these mercenaries and volunteers who supposedly are fighting for the Ukrainians against the evil Russians. I think, personally, with no evidence yet, I'm waiting for those books to be allowed to be published, that NATO troops are over there, platoons are over there, entered in Ukraine as volunteered, but actually being NATO troops. I have no evidence to support my claim, but experience and knowledge. All right, and gut feelings. Let's start with the first article. CNN. This is from 2 hours ago today on January 30th, 2025. American fighters are dying in Ukraine in growing numbers. Bringing their bodies home is a complex task. Now, this article will focus on the secondary issue, which is this: bringing their bodies home. Not on the first one. Why are they there? So, more than 20 Americans are missing in action on the front lines in Ukraine, with a spike in casualties over the past 6 months as foreigners will fill urgent gaps in the country's embattled defenses, according to a CNN investigation. The bodies of at least 5 American volunteers who signed up to the Ukrainian military could not be retrieved from the battlefield after being killed in action in the past 6 months, CNN found. 2 of these were repatriated from Russian-occupied territory on Friday to Ukrainian soil after lengthy negotiations. The primary issue is this: why are Americans fighting in Ukraine? Some people may say, well, free people, what do you want? That's fine. Okay. What if these Americans will fight for the Russians? Okay, what if these Americans will fight for the Palestinians? Let's say. That's the issue. Why are they over there? If you give me free choice, then okay, I want to see Americans fighting for the Palestinians, for instance. Or I don't know, for other entities. Or they can fight only for what is designated by a government at a certain point in time as being the good people, and the other ones are evil. If that's the case, that means there's no more free will, right? You can tell me about the consequences, because, sometimes you can see a product and say this is garbage, and the government tell you, no, that product is fantastic. Like, for instance, the vaccines. Okay, so not always what the government ascribes or assigns as being A-OK is A-OK if we have free will, but we have as much as they allow us. So let's go back here. So the main thing is, why are they there? And if they're over there, should the US government say no? Who goes over there and comes back will be prosecuted, as for instance certain countries do? I am for free will. So if they are volunteers going over there, or they're mercenaries going over there, that's their business. But I want it on a plain field, all right, not selectively. You want to go fight for the Russians? Go ahead. You want to fight for the other ones? Go ahead. But the government decided that the Russians are bad and the Ukrainians are good, which a lot of people have doubts that that's the actual representation of reality. I'm not talking about the Ukrainians, the nation. I'm talking about the guys in charge of Ukraine and the interests behind the guys in charge of the Ukrainian nation. So that's the first one. But they are focused on bringing those bodies back. That's the problem. It's hardship. It's hard to do with that. Well, that's their choice. They choose to go over there. Each and every person of these volunteers, I don't know their motives, why they went over there, but I know one motive, and that is discharging an automatic weapon against another person, which is a Russian. So they went over there to, sorry to say it, eliminate another human being. So that was the primary mission. It was not over there to give, medication or food to the orphans or something. They went over there with a special mission. So think about that one. Next one. And that's their choice. Their choice. Second article here. Australian mercenary, according to the Russians, captured by Russia, Canberra. A clip featuring Russian troops interrogating Oscar Jenkins, who fought for Ukraine, surfaced in December. Russian authorities have notified Australia that its citizen Oscar Jenkins is alive and in custody. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, he's from, how do you call it, from Albania, has told national media. The 32-year-old went missing late last year while fighting for Ukraine. In December, a video was published by a Russian military blogger showing the interrogation of a man identifying himself, okay, meow meow, thank you very much for stopping, the cat is around, identifying himself as Jenkins. Speaking to ABC News on Wednesday, Albanese confirmed the receipt of the statement that has been made by the Russian authorities through Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and the Canberra is now, quote-unquote, seeking confirmation. So, oh, look at those colors over there. So the Russians, I have glasses like James Brown. If you remember, James Brown had an interview when he was high as a kite and had this kind of colored glasses. Like, go and check it out. It's on YouTube. So now I'm James Brown here. So my friends, more people, foreigners die over there. This is my scenario. This is what I think it happens. There's a alternative hypothesis. Always you say, okay, this is the most in your brain, according to your assessments. This is the most probable, scenario. And then the second one, the third one, and so on. So in my books, what's going on here? In my books, this is the way it goes. When the Ukrainian army, got depleted in such a way that they could not recruit more people over there, they started importing NATO troops, plus the volunteers, the initial volunteers. The initial volunteers came and so on. They were recruited, they came over there. There were some mercenaries over there with private, private military companies, like Wagner, for instance. Remember, Wagner was bad, but Blackwater used to be Blackwater, now it changes name. They're allowed to. All right. So first, some people came like that. As the Ukrainians were losing, how should I put it, fighting power, manpower, then I think NATO decided to bring more volunteers, calling them, some of them, Ukrainian troops trained in Great Britain, Germany, and other places in Europe, Poland, and wherever the other places they train, with foreign trainers, okay? So these guys, about 50,000 were trained, and they came back, and they're still coming back. More than 50,000, I'm just assuming. I don't know how many came back, but nevertheless, they came coming, and they're not going to tell us how many, because if you add how many they say they came, it's going to be more than the 50,000 they say they trained. But hey, who cares? And what I think these guys did, all right, NATO troops, platoons, entire platoons, land in Poland. In Poland, they take their little NATO, whatever country they come from, the uniforms. They get the Ukrainian military uniforms as volunteers. They take a picture over there. They take the picture, put it right here with the name, with the title volunteer, in case they get captured or shot. And the Russians have access. So that's the evidence they are volunteers. Not. And then they go in with their commanders. They fight for a certain how should I put, operation, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, this depends. And then they return. They go back to Poland. They get back their uniforms and they go back to serve in the military of the countries they initially came from. And then the next ones, and the next one, and the next ones. I think that's the way it is. And I have no evidence to support my claims. No evidence. But, I can't turn baboon. That's the only thing. We're going to find out. And if you stick around after this garbage in Ukraine ends, I guarantee you that in about maximum 2 to 3 years, we're going to find everything I said regarding this, including the F-16 pilots, the Abrams 1 tanks, and Challenger tanks, and Leopard 2 tanks of the Germans, I don't think, or HIMARS launchers, and the Patriot batteries. I am 99%, I know, because I'm an imbecile, certain those are not operated by the Ukrainians. For the reasons I provided in numerous times in my videos. But we're going to find out. So that's the way I think these guys are, all these volunteers. Retired. Some of them are volunteers. And remember, those guys who are coming back are just over there as instructors, trainers, and some are different titles. That's how you do it. You come as a different title. And then you do something else. Like, for instance, an embassy staff, consulate staff. Among those guys, there are people who are supposed to do certain things that are not the ones, like a driver. I'm the driver of the ambassador. He's not only the driver. His real task, his real operation, or how should I put it, goal that he came over there is not to drive the ambassador. It's for more than that. They all know it. So that's just an example. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.